Hello. It is I, once again, the Bruce Wayne of Azur Lane. Back at it again for another Azur Lane video, and no less back in my comfortable Batman bathrobe. So I thought I would give a quick ship and gear review of the UR event. And I know I'm late to the game on this. I'm fresh off my massive pity roll expenditures. It took me forever to get Implacable, but I was finally able to put Implacable into practice. And here's the question. Is she good? There is a definite yes. She is very good. And I'm very happy that they gave her, they made her well. I don't know any other way to put it. So, what is the deal with Implacable? Well, most UR carriers get an extra plane. And that is kind of what defines UR carriers when it comes to their gear slots anyway. So, for example, Yorktown has 4 dive bombers, so she gets an extra dive bomber. And then, but in Implacable's case, she has 3 of each plane. So she has very evenly spread, and she has high fighter efficiency, by the way. But she has very evenly spread, equipment among her gear slots, which is nice. And in any case, so as for her skills, if I could sum up, may God forgive you, for I shall not. This skill is basically the more damage you take, the more damage she does. And that's actually very, very good. She is a revengeful type of ship. I kind of like that. And yeah, she can the more damage she does, and her damage is actually very good. I'll just say that right now. But yeah, she's actually a solid ship. So in any case, also her slow is the best slow I think in the game. I think this beats out August Von Percival, who had the previous ship with the best slow. But yeah, she is all around. Oh, by the way, another thing is so she does have this nice skill where she buffs the Royal Navy faction. So she is a faction buffer on top of those skills. But yeah, the slow is impressive. Her damage is impressive, and the faction fleet buff. So she needs, in order to get her faction fleet buff for the Royal Navy, you need to have airspace control. So the thing is, since she is a UR carrier with a very high AVI at 444, getting there should not be a problem in most maps. But I'll just say this, like, Implacable, she delivers. It's an excellent ship, and I would highly recommend raising her over to level 125. And I'm gonna oath my Implacable. I don't know about you all, but I'm definitely oathing Implacable. It does not help that, for some reason, nuns, I don't know, they do something for me. Anyway, so moving on. I probably shouldn't have said that. Anyway, so Implacable is actually worth it. She's actually worth investing in to the max. Having said that, moving on. Let's see. Royal Oak. So, Royal Oak is actually a highly usable kind of support, kind of zombie battleship. I classify her as a support zombie battleship because she does have this zombie skill here where if she takes damage that would sink her, she actually starts recovering health. And then she acts as a tank for your whole fleet pretty much. So she will absorb damage and then turn into a zombie when it's over. And I would say Royal Oak is definitely a highly usable ship. At the same time, though, I mean, if you have any of the UR battleships, she definitely is not in anywhere near their class, but she's still a solid entry. into the battleship class of Azure Lane. So I would say this. If you don't have a ship better than Royal Oak, she is definitely a good choice. I don't know. I like her. She's usable. I just didn't find her that, yeah, I didn't find her that is spectacular in any way that makes her, trump most of the other SSR battleships. Overall, though, I really like the design. Like, I would say she has one of the best arts. After, like, she packing a giant sword and everything, I was like, dang, looking good, Royal Oak. In any case, so moving on to one of the biggest surprises of this event was Scylla. So Scylla is a Ditto class light cruiser, and she actually has okay, to me, I compare her to her sister Sirius, and that's because she does have a buff for carriers, but the thing is, she has this really nice skill where, hold on a second, it's this one right here, Scylla's Embrace. So when she fires her torpedoes, she fires a special barrage, and enemies hit by this barrage take 6% increased damage for 6 seconds. So she has this excellent debuff, and to me, she is a step above her sister HMS Sirius. But she does have this nice buff for carriers, and that's very important because she has most of the time when I use Sirius, I use her to buff HMS carriers in an HMS faction fleet, and I think once I level up Scylla, I'm gonna replace Sirius in that fleet. So yeah, I would say Scylla, very, very solid light cruiser. And I think she has, in my opinion, the second best art out of all these events. So if you look at her, she is clearly, I don't know, you know how like Sirius has that whole, innocent but kind of naughty maid thing? This looks like that same theme, but instead of just being naughty, she's more of a yondeer. I don't know, she strikes me as a yondeer maid. I'm not quite into yondeers, but I mean, all you guys that are into yondeers, and she also has a skin called Femme Fatale, which makes me think she's a yondeer. I'm just saying. So, all you guys into yondeers, I mean, this might be your possibly, your best taste ship in this event. But I'd like to live for one thing. In any case, moving on to HMS Argus. So I like to compare HMS Argus to Independence Retrofit. And that's because she really is she does have her own cross-fleet buff. The trick to her is, unlike Independence, who buffs reload, she actually buffs, well, oh wait, so she gives a, wait a second, yeah, she restores HP, so she gives a heal. And the heal is very nice, but she does give the cross fleet reload. I don't know. It's kind of like it's sort of like in the fleet she's in, she will heal the carrier next to her, whereas Independence gives them reload. But I mean, comparing her to Independence, that's saying a lot because Independence is definitely one of the top carriers in the game. I have not leveled up HMS Argus to her maximum, and I've used her only a little bit, but so far I gotta say she has some promise. Like, for an elite, she's actually pretty good. I gotta say though, if you have Independence though, I still prefer Independence. Yeah, Independence is the more preferable out of these two, but Independence Retrofit to be more specific. But she also has this like skill where she increases the XP for carriers, so she's also a XP giver, a teachership, if you will. So she is definitely one of the most, I I guess one of the best support carriers that you could use if you're leveling up carriers. The real thing is, I don't know. She just doesn't do that much damage compared to a lot of these other carriers. Like she only has 130 efficiency. To be fair, is pretty good, but she only has 130 efficiency, and compared to a lot of other carriers, light carriers. I mean, in this class, it's kind of like, I mean, that's good. That's good, but we clearly aren't using you for damage. We clearly are not using Argus for damage. On top of that, her art is also very decent. I think it's ironic to call a nun, or not a nun, a pure succubus. I think the irony in that is brilliant. It's just, most people, I understand most people won't quite get that. And I understand that, to be honest, it's kind of strange. It's like strange, but it works in its own kind of way. Having said that, moving on to HMS Hero. So HMS Hero is, I think, the best anti-submarine destroyer we have gotten. She is pretty much okay. So one of the best anti-submarine destroyers we got was Hammond 2, but and that's because Hammond 2 had a special weapon, a special anti-sub weapon that she gets when she limit breaks. So HMS Hero also has an improved special anti-sub weapon. Here's the thing about her though. Unlike HMS Hammond, who being a destroyer escort has terrible speed and will slow down your vanguard in a point that makes your whole vanguard vulnerable, Hero actually has very good speed. And I mean, her health is, I mean, it's kind of, I'll just say she might get killed a couple times. I have no doubt of that, to be fair. But yeah, I'll just say she's actually, her skills are both, they're mostly geared towards submarines. So I gotta say, she probably will be very, very good for clearing World 14. Yeah, this is a very good anti-submarine destroyer. This is probably the best anti-sub ship in the game as of now. So if you don't have a good anti-sub ship already, HMS Hero would be a good ship to raise. And I'll just say, she also has like she does decent damage with her torpedoes. That's good to note. On any case, moving on to the one piece of special gear we get in this game, which is actually kind of lackluster, because usually with every UR event, we get some kind of UR piece of gear that is like the top-notch gear in the game, and instead we get the Fairy Firefly 1771 NAS, and this dive bomber, I mean, it's not really, I'll just say this. So if you were expecting a UR piece of gear like I was, this was kind of a disappointment. This was a total disappointment. But I'll just tell you, is this thing good or not? Well, here's the deal. It's not really good, but it has some niche uses. So, for example, it has two 1,000-pound bombs specific to it, and I believe these are tier 0 bombs because they do considerable damage. It's definitely a speed dive bomber. So you would use this to increase the reload of your carrier. Or if you have a carrier that has very low dive bomber efficiency and you want to focus on the other 2 slots, this is actually very good for that because it's kind of like it's a speed reload dive bomber, but its bombs do just a hair bit above damage all the other speed reloader dive bombers. So I would say it's probably maybe the best speed dive bomber we're gonna get right now. But even then, its speed is still behind like the Suze, and I would say if you have the Suze, the difference in damage between the two is really not that different. It's not that impressive. So, I would say it's the one. It only has one shining kind of gimmick. You could call it that if you really want to call it that. But it actually, as a fighter, when it launches, it does have the best anti-air damage. So, out of all the dive bombers, it has the highest DPS, and it has four 20 millimeter cannons, which is, I mean, the Nakajima Tenrai also has two 20 millimeter and two 30 millimeter, but the reload is super slow on that. So if we run into a map that introduces enough sky cancer that we are absolutely just clawing for anti-air, I would say that the dive bomber, the Fairy Firefly 1771, you could use it in that one specific circumstance because it is the best anti-air dive bomber, if you will. But I just don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. And if you really are clawing for anti-air, there's still better options. But I would just say this dive bomber, it's kind of like, it's not really that good. Oh, it's not good. I'm not going to use a dive bomber for anti-air unless I'm absolutely desperate. So, in any case, that is my rundown, my quick rundown of all these ships so far. Having said that, I wish you all a farewell and following seas, my fellow Shikikans. And I understand that we are going to get the Italian event next, so I may do a quick guide to those ships. In any case, take it easy, guys. And if you like my content, please like and subscribe.